Hey everyone, Andrew, Park Rovers, and in this video we're celebrating 50 years of Carowinds. I can't cover it all, but I'm going to point out some highlights from Carowinds history, as well as point out some of my favorite details you can see in the park today. And our video is going to start at the north entrance and what is called Celebration Plaza. One of my favorite details here is the state line, so you have North Carolina on the right side and South Carolina on the left side. And you also have bricks for each county in each state. As you walk your way to the stage, you're going to pass over a bridge. You might not even notice this, but the train used to pass right through here. Like a lot of theme parks, Carowinds has its own Starbucks right at the end of the street here. And as the colored state lines come to an end, and you're greeted by the stage, you're also greeted by the Carolina Sky Tower, which is an original 1973 attraction built by Intamin. Of course, back in 1973, this area looked very different. It was known as Plantation Square.
This fantastic home video footage was filmed by Walter Lee Strickland in 1973. From 1973 to 2014, a replica of a southern mansion served as the entryway to Carowinds. A new entryway debuted in 2015 along with the Fury 325 hypercoaster. Back in 1973, you could find themed characters like Ringo Raccoon. Through the park's entrance was a fountain in what was called the Courtyard of the Carolinas. As guests walked the state line, they ended up in Plantation Square, which was designed to resemble small Carolina towns of the early 19th century. If you zoom in on this 1976 map, you can see that the Plantation Square includes a hat shop, ice cream, a magic shop, and even a glass blower. Now let's go back to the present and talk about the area next to Celebration Plaza.
Right near the Plaza stage, you have an area that includes the Carolina Sky Tower, Nighthawk, and the Intimidator roller coaster. One thing I want to point out is over by Nighthawk, and it's in the water. If you look into the water under Nighthawk, you can actually see the former track for the Carolina Sternwheeler, which used to operate around the water here.
Nighthawk is a Vekoma flying coaster that originally opened at California's Great America in 2000. When it was moved to Carowinds, it opened as a Star Trek themed coaster named the Borg Assimilator.
Also in this land over by Nighthawk used to be Smurf Island. In fact, there's a lot of history just in this one area.
If we look back at the 1976 map, we see an area called Queens Colony. Queens Colony includes the dock for the Carolina Sternwheeler, a rotor ride called Whirling Well, and the Powder Keg Flume Ride. The Powder Keg was built by Aeronautica and opened with the park on March 31st, 1973. In 2003, the ride was renamed. The area around the ride was rethemed to Nickelodeon Central, and the ride became Wild Thornberry's River Adventure. The ride would close in 2008 in favor of a new attraction. The Intimidator hypercoaster opened on March 27th, 2010 at the cost of $23 million. The Powder Keg's location was perfect for the new coaster because you could see it from the highway. Now let's take a look at the land next to the Intimidator.
The next land I want to talk about at Carowinds is Camp Snoopy, which was originally the Happy Land of Hanna-Barbera.
The land was added in 1975 by new owners of Carowinds. A joint venture between Taft Broadcasting and the Kroger Company purchased Carowinds for $16 million, and they wanted this new land to attract more park guests. Visiting Camp Snoopy today, you can still find some remnants from the past.
This land also includes a few original 1973 attractions, including what is now known as Charlie Brown's Wind-Up. Next to Charlie Brown's Wind-Up is Snoopy's Junction, which is the only operating train at Carowinds. Snoopy vs. Red Baron also dates back to 1973. And a fun fact, there used to be a carousel over here in Camp Snoopy, and that was moved to an area now called Carousel Park. So now let's walk and find the carousel that was moved from Camp Snoopy over to what is now known as Carousel Park. Over here on the way to Carousel Park, I wanted to point out a defunct attraction. All that's left of the attraction is this fountain here.
Rip Roarin' Rapids was an Intamin raft ride that closed in 2018. On the Carowinds TikTok account, you can see a video of what's left of the attraction. This was posted in January 2023.
And now we're going to continue our walk to Carousel Park. And it's a nice walk under the arbor here. And we've made it to Carousel Park. Over here in Carousel Park is the Scrambler, which also dates back to 1973.
If we go back to the 1976 map, we can see that this area is called Carolina Midway and the Scrambler is called Kaleidoscope. Also near this area was the entrance to the monorail. The Carowinds monorail offered a 2-mile round-trip ride around the park and lasted just over 10 minutes. Now let's get back to modern-day Carousel Park.
Of course, the centerpiece of Carousel Park is this 1923 Philadelphia Toboggan Company carousel. And the lead horse here is Harold. You can tell because he has the PTC symbol there. Now we're in the Thrill Zone, which is the home of Fury 325. So this is one of the most trafficked areas in the park. Fury 325 was put in for the 2015 season, but this land dates back to 1994.
In 1994, this land opened up as Wayne's World, and the marquee attraction was a wood coaster called Hurler that was built by International Coasters. You can still ride this one today in the Thrill Zone.
Next to the Thrill Zone and Carousel Park is the Carolina Boardwalk. You won't find any water here, but you will find a lighthouse and some very nice theming. One of my favorite details is here at Chicky and Pete's, also known as Carolina Boatworks, and it's right above because that used to be one of the old Skyride stations.
The Cable Skyway opened with the park in 1973 and closed after the 1981 season.
Another cool detail is over here by the Carolina Gold Rusher, which is an original 1973 attraction. If you look on the side of the building, you'll see a sign that says J.R. Helms Mining Company. J.R. Helms was a longtime VP of operations here at Carowinds.
Speaking of the Carolina Gold Rusher, one cool thing is that one of the trains is gold for the 50th anniversary.
Next to the Carolina Boardwalk is the County Fair area, and this was recently rethemed and added 4 new flat rides in 2017. Next to the County Fair, you can enter Carolina Harbor, which is the water park here at Carowinds. The water park has had a few different names and dates back to 1982. Next to the water park and the county fair is a themed land called Blue Ridge Junction. This area has a lot of history, but it was refreshed in 2019, and they added a coaster called Copperhead Strike.
Copperhead Strike is a double-launched steel coaster built by Mock Rides. It opened back on March 23rd, 2019. If we look back at the 1976 map, we can see Pirate Island and a coaster in the approximate location of Copperhead Strike and the water park. Of course, the coaster in the map is none other than Thunder Road, which is perhaps the most famous defunct ride from Carowinds. Thunder Road was a wood racing coaster manufactured by PTC, Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters. Another former Carowinds coaster was White Lightning, which operated from 1977 to 1988. The Schwarzkopf looping coaster was relocated to Gold Reef City in Johannesburg, South Africa, where you can still ride it today. Now let's go back to modern day Blue Ridge Junction to check out some more cool details.
One pro tip: in Blue Ridge Junction, you can get the famous blue ice cream here at Granny's Ice Cream Shop. They also have a highly themed restaurant called the Blue Ridge Country Kitchen. Inside and around this restaurant are some of my favorite details at Carowinds. If you look at all of the signs inside and outside of the restaurant, there are references to current and former attractions at Carowinds and other Cedar Fair parks. Next to Blue Ridge Junction is the current land called Crossroads, and also the future land called Aeronautica Landing. Aeronautica Landing will open on April 7th, 2023 as the newest addition to Carowinds. Over by Afterburn, there's a few more details that I want to point out. If you look up at the fighter jet, there is the name of Steve Jackson, a longtime Carowinds employee and current director of maintenance and construction. To the side of the ride is this time capsule that was dedicated back on July 31st, 2019, and it's scheduled to be opened in 2039. And one last detail for Afterburn is at the top of the building, you can see a star with the letters TG. TG, of course, stands for Top Gun, which is this coaster's original name. So that's it. Those are all my historical and fun facts here from Carowinds. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Park Rovers, and we'll see you next time. And happy 50th anniversary, Carowinds. I'm looking forward to the future and what may be coming next.